Expand your vocabulary with our core 2,000 words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Spanish ebook before it's gone. Today's topic is how to speak more of your target language, specificity, and can-do checklists. How much of your target language can you speak right now? If your answer is not much, there is a way to speak more, even if you're learning on your own. In this episode, you'll discover 1. How specific goals can get you speaking more, and 2. How you can apply this learning tactic with our learning program or any other resource. But first, listen up. Here are this month's new lessons and resources. First, the Going Sightseeing Conversation Cheat Sheet. What country or city would you like to visit? With this PDF cheat sheet, you'll be able to talk about where you want to go, and you'll master all the common words and phrases for sightseeing. Second, the Most Common Nouns PDF ebook. You'll master over 90 common nouns with this bonus PDF picture ebook. You can download and review on any device. Third, can you talk about hairstyles? Would you be able to get a haircut in your target language? If not, then this 1-minute lesson is just what you need. Fourth, phrases to use with your doctor. I have an appointment. I don't feel well. My throat hurts. You'll learn how to say these phrases and much more. Fifth, can you talk about books in your target language? Learn how to say novel, author, thriller, and much more with this quick vocab bonus. To get your free resources, click the link in the description below right now. They're yours to keep forever. Okay, let's jump into today's topic. How to speak more of your target language, specificity and can-do checklists. Every learner wants to speak more in their target language, and yet speaking is almost always the weakest skill for most learners. So, how do you fix this? How do you speak more? Keep watching. These tips will apply to solo learners and those with a conversation partner. First, let's put language learning aside. Let's say you wanted to speak more about a certain topic in your native language. What would that depend on? The length of that conversation depends on how much you know about that topic, right? If you don't know much, that conversation won't last long. If you know a lot, you could go on for hours. It's the same with language learning. The more words and phrases you know around a certain topic, the more you can speak. It's a top-down approach. Pick a topic, for example, weather, and work your way down. Learn the relevant words, phrases, and questions for that topic. For example, what's the weather like? It's nice weather. It's sunny. It's windy. I like sunny weather. I don't like rain. The more lines you come up with, the more you'll be able to talk about the weather in your target language. The point is, if you want to speak more, you should start with a specific topic. Sounds obvious, right? So why don't most learners do this? Most learners don't do this because they're just passively following a learning resource without going after what they specifically want. It's much easier to follow a textbook than to stop, think about what you want to talk about, and go off in that direction. Of course, you should keep using your textbook or other existing resource. You can do both. Follow a resource and pursue specific topics. But here are a few reasons why this tactic is so powerful. First, specific goals always beat vague goals. For example, between setting goals like, I want to save money, and I want to save $50, you're more likely to succeed with the $50 goal. But because you have a specific number to look for and measure, you won't stop until that $0 becomes $10, then $20, and then $50. Same with language learning. Between, I want to learn more words, and I want to learn 20 words, you'll do much better with the specific goal. Second, you get to speak more sooner. You can go try the general approach of learning the 2,000 most common words, but that will take a long time and it won't get you speaking any faster. But if you pick a specific topic and get all the words and phrases for it, you'll be much better off. 3. So you know what to focus on. Again, knowing what to focus on helps you learn and progress faster. Otherwise, if you're just going through a textbook with no specific goal in mind, you'll spend months on learning a language and never see any real progress. So remember, the more specific you are with what you want, the more likely you'll get it, because you'll know exactly what you're looking for. This is why we tell you to set small, measurable, meaning specific, monthly goals. Now, what kind of topics should you pick? That depends on you and your hobbies and interests. You can also start with common topics, like talking about yourself, your family, the weather, or your weekend plans. But to make it easy for you, here's what you can do. 1. Download our free PDF conversation task list. Pick a topic to start with, for example, talking about your family. Then, take lessons inside our learning program based on that topic. You'll learn practical conversations that you can use in real life. And as a result, you'll be able to talk more about your family. 2. Take 5 or 10 minutes and write out other lines that you'd want to use, either in that conversation or questions that someone may ask you, and get them translated with the help of our Premium Plus teacher. 3. Come up with your own topics that are interesting to you. Then repeat step 2. Come up with all the phrases, questions, and answers that could come up in that conversation. Write them out and get them translated with your Premium Plus teacher. Or translate them with a translation software. You could try this, and it might not be perfect, but it could help you start and get you speaking a little bit more of your target language. The goal here is to be able to talk more about a specific topic, and as a result, speak more of your target language. So thank you for watching this episode of Monthly Review. Next time, we'll talk about what's your real reason for learning a language? If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. And if you're ready to finally learn language the fast, fun, and easy way, and start speaking from your very first lesson, get our complete learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account right now. Click the link in the description. See you next time. Bye! If you're learning a new language, there will be times when you'll struggle with the lesson, when you won't fully understand what you've learned, when you'll be in a rut, or when you just won't feel like you're making any progress. And that's totally normal. In this video, you'll learn what to do if you're not learning and how to overcome language learning struggles. Let's begin. Number 1, understand the mindset of a successful learner. Some learners are more successful than others. A key difference between successful learners and less successful learners is in the way they approach problems. Some learners rely completely on a learning program. If there's a grammar rule or word they don't understand, they get frustrated and blame the program. They don't look for solutions. Successful learners approach problems a little differently. If they encounter a problem, they look for a solution or ask for help instead of getting frustrated. You may feel frustrated at times, especially if you're a beginner, but how you choose to react will make all the difference. Number 2, set small, measurable, realistic goals with a deadline. Most learners fail because they set big, vague goals, like, I want to be fluent. When they realize they have no idea how to do that, they lose motivation and quit. The solution to this? Set small, measurable, realistic goals with a deadline. For example, finish 10 audio lessons by the end of this week. Learn 20 words by the end of this week. Speak 1 minute of conversation by the end of this month. Listen to lessons for just 5 minutes a day, every day this month. Now your goals are small and realistic enough to accomplish. They're specific and measurable, so you know when you reach them, and the deadline gives you a finish line. For example, either you learned all 20 words by Friday or you didn't. When you reach your goal, you gain a ton of confidence. This improves your chances of reaching your next goal because you've had experience reaching a goal and you understand the things you need to do to be successful. Number 3, read along with the lesson notes and lesson transcripts. Now, what if you're doing a lesson but you can't catch a word? Take advantage of the lesson notes and lesson transcripts and read along with the lesson. The lesson notes give you in-depth grammar and vocabulary explanations that are not available in the lesson. And the lesson notes give you the word-for-word transcript of everything said in the lesson. So if you want to pick up every word, read the transcript. Number 4, review, because repetition is the mother of all learning. If you're struggling with a particular word, grammar rule, or lesson, be sure to repeat and review it a few times. And then, come back a few days later and review it again. This same principle is used in our spaced repetition flashcards. The system quizzes you on words, then re-quizzes you in 3 days, then in 6 days, and so on. until the word gets embedded in your long-term memory. Some things you can do right now are download the lesson and lesson notes, save the words to your word bank, or even write down the words or grammar rules. Then come back to review them later. Number 5. Reach out to our teachers and ask questions. If you're a Premium Plus member, you can easily get in touch with your teacher and get all of your points of confusion cleared up. Or you can always leave a comment on our lessons, and our teachers will get back to you. Remember, you're not alone. If you're struggling with a lesson, you can always get in touch with us. Number 6. Take a break and go do something else. Another thing you can do is take a break and do something else that doesn't require much thinking. There's a reason our best ideas come while in the shower or while taking a walk. While you're on a break, your brain is more relaxed and starts making connections that you couldn't see when you were focused and stressed out. It's also why coming back to review things with a fresh mind can help you better understand the lessons you've taken. Number 7. Downgrade your learning routine. If you're studying for 30 minutes a day and find yourself overwhelmed, or if you suddenly find yourself busy, the best thing to do is to reduce your study routine to something easier and more manageable. If you've been learning 30 minutes a day, drop down to 10 or 15 minutes. Even 5 minutes is good enough because language learning success comes with consistency. Quitting and coming back every 3 months won't work. This brings us to our next point. Number 8. Remember, learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. Think about it. You can't cram for 5 hours and expect to remember everything you've studied. So just like with a marathon, it's okay to go slow and at your own pace, even if you're learning for just 5 minutes a day. Similarly, if you're having trouble understanding a grammar point or a lesson, don't let it bring you down. Learning a language is a marathon, a long-term game. The little points of confusion you have now are just small obstacles, and you'll fully understand them with time. So, if you're ready to finally learn a new language the fast, fun, and easy way, sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Signing up takes less than 30 seconds, and you'll start speaking from your very first lesson. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! When learning a new language, we sometimes have a hard time with things like procrastination, discouragement, or failure. But don't panic. With a good strategy, you'll be able to overcome these difficulties. Are you ready to discover the 4 habits of successful learners? Number 1. Optimize your time. When learning a language, it's important to dedicate time to your studies regularly, even if sometimes it's difficult. You're busy with school, work, family, or friends, but you can spread out your learning throughout the day. Study whenever you have small gaps of time in your busy schedule. This can be when you're on the metro, on your lunch break, or while you're exercising. Our podcast learning format fits perfectly into your tight schedule. Number 2. Consistency with your chosen method. There are a lot of options when it comes to courses and learning materials. Switching from one method to another can confuse you and disrupt your progress. Focusing on one learning method will make a difference. Our method has been created and optimized by real teachers, so you can stick to it with confidence. Number 3. Use your language background. Many languages share some commonalities. You can find words that look or sound similar, or even share the same grammar structure. A little bit of language background will give you an edge while learning. Number 4. Study continuously. People are excited when they start learning a new language. The enthusiasm usually lasts until the first roadblock. This can lead to discouragement and procrastination. But don't burn yourself out. Learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. Don't try to learn it all at once. Break things down into more digestible chunks. Learning step by step might feel slow, but it's an efficient way to learn a language. With patience, motivation, and good resources, you'll master the language. Remember, you can't learn a language overnight, but with motivation and these daily lessons, you'll be on the road to fluency. Give it a try now. Sign up for your account. Just click the link in the description.
Hi everybody, Rosa here. Welcome to As a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common Spanish questions. The question for this lesson is: why do some Spanish adjectives and words have a shortened form? some Spanish adjectives have a shortened form. We call this form apócope, or in English, apocope. This means the suppression of some sounds in the final part of a word. Most adjectives lose their last vowel, for example, o, when they are placed before a singular masculine noun. Sound confusing? Don't worry, there are only a few types of these adjectives in Spanish. Most of them are commonly used and will be easy for you to remember. Here they are. Bueno, meaning good, becomes buen. Malo, meaning bad, becomes mal. Alguno, meaning some, becomes algún. Ninguno, meaning none, becomes ningún. And grande, meaning big, becomes gran. Let's go through some examples so you can learn how to use the shortened forms of these Spanish adjectives. First up, he comprado un buen libro. I bought a good book. In this sentence, the word bueno, meaning good, gets shortened to buen because it was placed before the masculine singular noun libro, meaning book. Another example would be estoy teniendo un mal año, meaning I'm having a bad year. Again, in this sentence, the word malo, bad, becomes mal because it's placed before the masculine singular noun año, meaning year. You can also see this shortened form with ordinal and numeral adjectives like primero, first, becomes primer, and tercero, third, becomes tercer. With numeral, it sounds like this. Uno, meaning one, becomes un, and ciento, meaning 100, becomes cien. Let's go through some more examples. He escrito mi primer libro, literally meaning I have written my first book. Again, we have the masculine singular noun libro, book, so primero, meaning first, gets shortened to primer. Another example would be tengo un perro pequeño. I have a little dog. Here, the word perro, dog, is in its singular masculine form, so uno, one, gets shortened to un. Remember that these adjectives only lose the final vowel when they are placed before a singular masculine noun. If placed after the noun or if the noun is feminine, their vowel will remain intact. How was this lesson? Pretty interesting, right? Do you have any more questions? Please leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. Hasta luego, see you later! Hi everybody, Rosa here. Welcome to As a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common Spanish questions. The question for this lesson is: how can I decide if I have to write B or V in Spanish? In Spanish, the letter B and the letter V have the same sound, but they are written differently. So, how do you know which one to use? Despite some exceptions, there are some rules that can help you to pick which letter to use. Let's start with B. The words that usually use B can be divided in 4 groups. First, all the words that begin with bu, bien or bene, and B. For example, butaca, meaning armchair, bienestar, meaning wellness, and bisonte, bison. Second, all the words that end in bilidad, bundo or bunda. For example, amabilidad, kindness, moribundo, moribund, and nauseabunda, nauseating. Third, all the verbs whose infinitive forms end with ver, bir, and buir. For example, beber, to drink, saber, to know, and escribir, to write. Fourth and last, all of the past imperfect verbs whose first conjugation ends in aba. For example, compraba, I was buying, or cantaba, I was singing. Now let's see the rules for V. The words that usually use V can be divided in 4 groups. First, all the words that begin with V, div, ev. For example, vivir, to live, divertido, funny, and evento, event. Second, all the forms in present indicative, imperative, and subjunctive of the verb ir, to go. For example, voy, I go, or ve, you go, in the imperative. Third, all the adjectives that end in ave, abo, evo, and ivo. For example, suave, soft, and decisivo, decisive. Fourth and last, after be, di, en, or all. For example, obviar, to obviate, advertir, to warn, enviar, to send, olvidar, to forget. And that's it. But as you might already know, Spanish always has tricky exceptions, but don't worry, you'll get used to them in no time. How was this lesson? Pretty interesting, right? Do you have any more questions? Leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. Hasta pronto, see you soon! Hi everybody, Rosa here. Welcome to As a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common Spanish questions. The question for this lesson is: what are diminutives and how do you use them in Spanish? Appreciative suffixes are added to the end of a word to express an emotive or affective appreciation or to show an opinion. They are classified into 3 types: diminutives, augmentatives, and pejoratives. In this lesson, we'll discuss the diminutives. Vamos allá! Let's go! Diminutives are used to emphasize that something is particularly small or short. They are also used to express love and affection. Let's go through some examples so you can learn how to use diminutives correctly. A very common one is ito or ita. For example, from the word escalera, stairs, we have escalerita, if we want to express that the stairs are small. Another example, from gato, cat, we get the word gatito, adding tenderness to our expression. You can even use this with names such as Juan to Juanito, when you are talking about someone colloquially, most likely a child. Another common suffix, particularly in Andalusia, the southern Spain, is illo or illa. From libro, book, we get librillo, small book. We also have the suffix ete or eta, used more informally. In this case, from amigo, friend, we have amiguete, to express tenderness or affection for our friend. Lastly, with more local use, particularly found in Galicia, northern Spain, we find the suffix iño or iña. From pobre, poor, we can say pobriño, also adding a sense of tenderness. How was this lesson? Pretty interesting, right? Do you have any more questions? Please leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. See you soon, hasta pronto! Hi everybody, Rosa here. Welcome to As a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common Spanish questions. The question for this lesson is: what are augmentatives and how do you use them in Spanish? In another lesson, we talked about diminutives, which are expressive suffixes used to emphasize that something is particularly small or short, or to show affection. In this lesson, we'll discuss augmentatives. Augmentatives are expressive suffixes that emphasize that something is big or has great importance. We'll talk about the most common ones in this lesson. Let's do some examples so you can learn how to use augmentatives correctly. On or ona are common augmentative suffixes, and they are used with words like cabeza, meaning head, to make cabezón, a big head. Note that sometimes this is used in a bad or mocking sense. For example, from barriga, belly, we get barrigón, a big belly. Another commonly used suffix is azo or aza. From éxito, success, we get exitazo, to express that something was a great success or a big success. Sometimes, when the word is combined with a tool or utensil, it explains an action that was performed with that tool. For example, bastón, stick, becomes bastonazo and means to hit with a stick. The same happens with pelota, ball, becoming pelotazo, to hit with a ball. Lastly, the suffix ote or ota is commonly used with names and adjectives that apply to people. It's also used for making things seem bigger. However, this one can have a more affectionate sense or can be a soft way of making fun of someone. However, it always depends on the intention of the speaker. For example, from muchacho, boy, to muchachote, literally meaning big boy. And with amigo, friend, we get amigote. This could be used by, for example, your father in a kind way or to make a joke. How was this lesson? Pretty interesting, right? Do you have any more questions? Please leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. Hasta luego, see you soon! Hi everybody, Rosa here. Welcome to As a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common Spanish questions. The question for this lesson is: what are pejoratives and how do you use them in Spanish? In previous lessons, we discussed diminutives and augmentatives, and in this lesson we'll discuss pejoratives. You may already know diminutives make something smaller or affectionate, and augmentatives make something bigger or important. So, what do pejoratives do? Pejoratives are used to emphasize something negative. We'll go over the most common ones in this lesson. Let's go over some examples so you can learn how to use pejoratives correctly. A common pejorative suffix is ucho or ucha. For example, from flaco, slim or thin, we get flacucho. When used in a pejorative sense, it means very slim, as in almost sick. Another example would be for the adjective débil, weak. We get debilucha, used to describe a woman who is physically or psychologically weak. Another pejorative suffix is acho or acha. For example, pueblo, from the Latin populus, meaning people, becomes populazzo, meaning common people or mob. By adding the suffix acho, the speaker shows less consideration for the original meaning of people. Another example would be from pueblo, town, which becomes poblazzo, meaning dirty town or destroyed town. Here's an example sentence. El populazzo cree que puede ganar en las elecciones. It means the common people think that they can win the elections. Usually, people use these suffixes to gossip or to look down on others. You don't always use the same suffixes for every word, as each word is used mostly with just one suffix. So make sure you check which suffix to use before you use it. Here we have other less common pejorative suffixes. like ejo or eja, changing tipo, meaning guy, to tipejo, bad guy, calle, meaning road, to calleja, narrow road, or uzo or uza, from gente, meaning people, we get gentuza, bad people. All of these examples are used pejoratively. Lastly is ato or ata. You could use this for the word niño, boy, and get niñato, brat. Be careful with this word because it has a really bad meaning and can be considered an insult as well. How was this lesson? Pretty interesting, right? Do you have any more questions? Leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. Hasta luego, until next time! Hi everybody, Rosa here, welcome to As a Teacher, where I'll answer some of your most common Spanish questions. The question for this lesson is: how do I use Spanish punctuation? Just like in English, punctuation marks are used to provide emphasis, to indicate pauses and intonation changes, and to guide people through the meaning of our expressions. Let's take a look to the basic uses of punctuation marks in Spanish. The first one is el punto. This literally means the dot, but you may know it better as the period in American English or full stop in British English. It's used to mark the ending of a sentence or complete thought. After using a punto, the next word should be capitalized. For example, Juan viene hoy. Mis amigos vendrán mañana. This means Juan is coming today, my friends will come tomorrow. Next, we have la coma, or the comma. This indicates a short pause in a sentence, and its usage is similar to English. For example, viajaré por Andalucía, Zaragoza y Toledo, meaning I will travel to Andalucía, Zaragoza and Toledo. This one sounds different from the English version. El punto y coma. This literally means the dot and comma, but you may know it better as the semicolon. It's used to divide related sections in a single sentence. For example, hoy veremos un buen partido. Sin embargo, creo que mi equipo perderá. Meaning, today we will see a good match. However, I think my team will lose. We can also use the punto y coma in a longer sentence that already has commas. For example, Ana fue al museo, Carlos a la biblioteca y David a la universidad. Meaning, Ana went to the museum, Carlos to the library, and David to the university. Unlike the punto or coma, the punto y coma really depends on the writer's discretion. As a general rule, use the punto y coma if you feel the two sentences are closely related enough to make them into one sentence. After a punto y coma, you always have a lowercase letter. Let's move on to two more punctuation marks you may be familiar with: the signos de interrogación and exclamación. The signos de interrogación is better known in English as the question mark and is used in interrogative sentences. The exclamación sounds similar to the English exclamation point and works the same way. It's used to express surprise, anger, or any other strong emotions. Remember that in Spanish, you could write an inverted question mark or exclamation mark at the beginning of the sentence in addition to the mark at the end. Some examples are: ¿Qué hora es? What time is it? ¿Cómo te llamas? What's your name? ¡Socorro! Help! And vamos, let's go! Finally, the colon, which is dos puntos, ellipsis, which is puntos suspensivos, parenthesis, which is paréntesis, and comillas, which is quotation marks, are used the same way in English as in Spanish. How was this lesson? Pretty interesting, right? Do you have any more questions? Please leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. Hasta la próxima. Until next time.
Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Hola, ¿también te gusta el chile?
Sí, mucho. Es de mis verduras favoritas.
Yo soy Sergio. ¿Y tú?
Yo, Jimena. Encantada.
Now you'll hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
También.
Also, as well, to,
También. Gustar.
to give pleasure to or to like.
Gustar. Mucho.
Much, a lot.
Mucho. Verdura.
Vegetable.
Verdura. Favorito.
Favorite.
Favorito.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Hola, ¿también te gusta el chile?
Sí, mucho. Es de mis verduras favoritas.
Yo soy Sergio. ¿Y tú?
Yo, Jimena. Encantada.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson. Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Bienvenidos a la clase. Por favor, tomen asiento.
¿Esta es la clase de Historia del Arte?
No, esta clase es Historia del Chile.
Disculpe.
Now you'll hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
Bienvenido.
Welcome.
Bienvenido. Clase.
Class.
Clase. Por favor.
Please.
Por favor. Tomar asiento.
To have a seat or to take one's seat.
Tomar asiento. Disculpe.
Excuse me.
Disculpe.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Bienvenidos a la clase. Por favor, tomen asiento.
¿Esta es la clase de Historia del Arte?
No, esta clase es Historia del Chile.
Disculpe.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson. Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
¿Qué te pareció la clase?
Interesante. Voy a ir a la siguiente clase. ¿A ti?
También. ¿Quieres hacer la tarea juntos?
Por supuesto.
Now you'll hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
¿Qué te pareció?
What did you think of it?
¿Qué te pareció? Interesante.
Interesting.
Interesante. Siguiente.
Next.
Siguiente. La tarea.
Homework. Task.
La tarea. Por supuesto.
Of course.
Por supuesto.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
¿Qué te pareció la clase?
Interesante. Voy a ir a la siguiente clase. ¿A ti?
También. ¿Quieres hacer la tarea juntos?
Por supuesto.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson.
Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Welcome to Conversational Phrases. We've found that the best way to learn a language is to speak it from day one. And the best way to start speaking is to learn phrases that you'll use in real conversations. In this lesson, we'll learn conversational phrases to answer the question, what kind of movies do you like? After watching this video, you'll be able to talk about movies and ask other people about their favorite kinds of movies. And if you want to learn more vocabulary, phrases, and example sentences you can use in real-life situations, click the link in the description to download your Talking About Movies and TV PDF cheat sheet for free. Now, let's take a look at some conversational phrases.
Listen to the dialogue. ¿Qué tipo de películas te gustan?
Me gustan las de terror.
Once more with the English translation. ¿Qué tipo de películas te gustan? What kind of movies do you like?
Me gustan las de terror.
I like horror. First of all, you'll need to learn how to say, what kind of movies do you like? That's, ¿qué tipo de películas te gustan? Listen to it again.
¿Qué tipo de películas te gustan?
¿Qué tipo de películas te gustan? Now, how do you answer this question? The pattern is,
Me gustan las de.
type of movie. I like type of movie. For example, I like horror.
Me gustan las de terror. Me gustan las de terror.
Here are a few more kinds of movies you can use with the same pattern to talk about movies. horror,
terror, terror,
comedy,
comedias, comedias,
fantasy,
fantasía, fantasía,
romance,
romance, romance.
Let's look at some examples. Listen and repeat or speak along with the native speakers.
¿Qué tipo de películas te gustan? Me gustan las comedias. ¿Qué tipo de películas te gustan? Me gustan las de fantasía. ¿Qué tipo de películas te gustan? Me gustan las de romance.
Okay, now it's your turn. Do you remember how to say, "What kind of movies do you like?"
¿Qué tipo de películas te gustan?
Imagine you like comedies. Do you remember how to say comedy?
Comedias. Comedias.
Say, I like comedies.
Me gustan las comedias.
Now answer the question saying that you like comedies.
¿Qué tipo de películas te gustan? Me gustan las comedias.
Now imagine that you like fantasy movies. Do you remember how to say fantasy?
Fantasía. Fantasía.
Say, I like fantasy.
Me gustan las de fantasía.
Now, answer the question saying you like fantasy movies.
¿Qué tipo de películas te gustan? Me gustan las de fantasía.
Now imagine you like romance. Do you remember how to say romance?
Romance. Romance.
Say, I like romance.
Me gustan las de romance.
Now answer the question saying you like romance.
¿Qué tipo de películas te gustan? Me gustan las de romance.
In this lesson, you learned new vocabulary and phrases you can use in your everyday life to talk about movies. You are now able to talk about types of movies like a native speaker. Start by practicing in the comments below. Tell us what your favorite kind of movie is. Lastly, don't forget to click the link in the description and download your PDF cheat sheets. You'll get useful phrases you need for everyday life for free. See you in the next lesson. Bye!
Reír. Laugh. Reír. Reír. Laugh. Reírse de una broma. Laugh at a joke. Reírse de una broma. Delicioso. Delicious. Delicioso. Delicioso. Delicious. Postres deliciosos. Delicious desserts. Postres deliciosos. Agua. water. Agua. Agua. Water. Vaso de agua. Glass of water. Vaso de agua. Té. Tea. Té. Té. Tea. Taza de té. Cup of tea. Taza de té. Café. Coffee. Café. Café. Coffee. Taza de café. Cup of coffee. Taza de café. Cerveza. Beer. Cerveza. Cerveza. Beer. Lata de cerveza. Can of beer. Lata de cerveza. Vino. Wine. Vino. Vino. Wine. Copa de vino. Glass of wine. Copa de vino. Ternera. Beef. Ternera. Ternera. Beef. Ternera sabrosa. Flavorful beef. Ternera sabrosa. Pollo. Chicken. Pollo. Pollo. Chicken. Caldo de pollo. Chicken soup. Caldo de pollo. Carne de cerdo. Pork. Carne de cerdo. Carne de cerdo. Pork. Carne de cerdo asada. Pork roast. Carne de cerdo asada. Reír. Laugh. Delicioso. Delicious. Agua. Water. Té. Tea. Café. Coffee. Cerveza. Beer. Vino. Wine. Ternera. Beef. Pollo. Chicken. Carne de cerdo. Pork.
Hola, soy Víctor Trejo. Mucho gusto. Soy de Veracruz.
In the next minute, you'll be challenged to introduce yourself, including where you're from. First, let's look at some examples.
Mucho gusto. Soy Ángel.
Mucho gusto. Soy Mark.
Mucho gusto. Soy Karen.
Let's practice.
Te encuentras a Víctor Trejo por primera vez. Preséntate y responde su pregunta.
Hola, soy Víctor Trejo. Mucho gusto.
Now share where you're from. Here are some examples.
Soy de Nueva York.
Soy de Guadalajara.
Soy de Londres.
Are you ready?
¿De dónde es usted?
How did you do? You can consider this practice exercise successful if you were able to answer in the given time, completed a pattern with your name and hometown, and used the sentence pattern featured in this example.
Mucho gusto. Soy Ángel. Soy de Guadalajara.
Try this practice exercise again if you want to improve your fluency or skill in any of these areas.
Okay, today's topic is 4 rules for staying motivated with language learning. You're going to learn 1. The mistake people make with motivation, 2. The 4 rules for motivation, and 3. How you can apply the 4 rules to your language learning. Do you wish you were more motivated about language learning? You watch motivational videos, you feel good for a second, but none of it sticks. This lesson may have some tips to help you. First, listen up. Here are this month's new lessons and resources. First, the 24-hour survival phrases cheat sheet. Traveling and want to learn a bit of the language? Then these survival phrases will help you with the first 24 hours. Second, the ultimate listening video master course. How good are your listening skills? Watch this free video master course to more easily understand native speakers. You can download it right now. Third, the 50 most common verbs all beginners must know. Do you know all of these verbs? If not, this lesson will drill the 50 most common verbs into your head. Just use the free audio slideshow tool inside. And fourth, 20 strategies for learning a language at home. Want to learn a language from the comfort of your own home? This 1-minute lesson gives you all the best tactics for learning languages. To get your free resources, click the link in the description below right now. They're yours to keep forever. Okay, let's jump into today's topic. 4 rules for staying motivated with language learning. Want to know how to really stay motivated? Then listen closely to these 4 rules. These rules might be a little different from the advice that you often hear. Ready? Rule number 1, action comes first. Are you the type of person who prefers to make things happen? Or are you the type that waits for things to happen to you? One of the best ways to stay motivated with language learning is to not think about motivation. Instead, take action and start learning. The mistake that most people make is that they have this backwards. They think they should wait to feel motivated first and then start learning. But really, it's the other way around. First, you do a language lesson. You learn a basic conversation. Then you do another. And then you start feeling like you can do more and learn more. You see results. So results bring motivation. Thinking about motivation does not bring motivation. Thinking about motivation is like reading an article about how to go outside for a run instead of actually going outside for a run. So action comes first. Rule number 2, always have an outside influence. It's very easy to lose motivation if you're learning language alone. So what do? Here are some examples. You get a study buddy. You hire a tutor. You join a meetup group. You plan a trip to a country where people speak that language. Or you sign up for a proficiency test, like many language learners do. Why do this? Because now you have other people depending on you. You have outside factors that keep you going with the language. For example, if you signed up for a language proficiency test, you know you have a few months to study and you have to take the test on a certain date. Someone is going to pass or fail you. This is a lot more motivating than learning alone. If you're learning with our program, you can get your own teacher with the Premium Plus plan. They'll hold you accountable, send you homework, and give you feedback. If you have a study buddy, well, now you have someone that expects you to show up and improve. And if they're better than you, that should give you extra motivation because you want to be at their level. So get some outside influence. The next rule is rule number 3. Always have a go-to study method. When you arrive at work or the gym, or when you start your homework, you always have that one thing you do first, right? What do you do? For example, with work, maybe the very first thing you do is check emails. Then you check your tasks for the week. After that, you get started. Well, you need to make the same kind of habits with language learning. You need a go-to study method that you're comfortable with, an easy starting point. And this totally depends on you and your style. Choose something you enjoy. Some people listen to audio lessons. Some people like flashcards. For some people, writing is easy. You can write out song lyrics and translate them. It's up to you. The point is, you should give yourself an easy first step to get you started and get into the flow of learning. If you're learning with our program, you can start with the word of the day email or do a quick 3-minute audio lesson. You can copy out the lesson dialogue, read through the lesson notes, or even easier, just review and re-listen to a lesson you took the day before. If you have your own go-to study method, you're already miles ahead of most learners. Leave a comment and tell us about it. And finally, rule number 4, always be working on something. So here, I want you to stop and think about your friends. Do you have a friend that's always up to something? Some project? They're working on a song, or they're making videos. They finish one thing and they start another. Well, if you wonder how they stay motivated, it's because they're always working on something. And this goes back to taking action. If you're not learning or working, you can't stay motivated. So you need to apply this to language learning. How? For example, like I mentioned in part 2 about outside influence, you can make a plan to travel to a country that speaks your target language. Or you can sign up for a language proficiency test. If you do that, you'll have something to look forward to, something to do. If you're traveling, you need to learn travel phrases. If you have a proficiency test coming up, you have to study grammar and do exercises. What else can you do? If you already have a textbook or workbook, make it a goal to finish that book. If you have a learning program, make it a goal to finish it or reach a certain level. If you're using our lessons, make it a goal to finish one learning pathway. Then, when you're done, give yourself something else to do, something to stick with, something to look forward to. So, let's recap. 1. Action comes first. 2. Always have an outside influence. 3. Always have a go-to study method. And 4. Always be working on something. So, thank you for watching this episode of Monthly Review. Next time, we'll talk about how to get a return on your language learning investment. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. And if you're ready to finally learn language the fast, fun, and easy way, and start speaking from your very first lesson, get our complete learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account right now. Click the link in the description. See you next time. Bye! Expand your vocabulary with our core 2,000 words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Spanish ebook before it's gone.